on Books, where we talk about books and always go beyond. I'm your host. I'm Renee. I have a co-host here. Hold on just a second. Come on, Raina. This is Raina, my faithful co-host. She's just here for the snacks, but she also does a good job, so we keep her around for that reason. There you go, Raina. Excuse me. All right, so today I'm going to do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 book tag. And I was tagged by Mimi at It's Mimi Duong. I'll put a link to her channel below. I'm not sure when this tag was created. I couldn't find the original creator. But if anyone knows, please leave it in the comments so I can give some love to that as well. So what I wanted to do with this is I wanted to share some books that I don't think I've yet spoken about on my channel, just to make things a little bit different, because when you do tags on a regular basis and you're reviewing books, you know, sometimes weekly, monthly, you kind of find that the same books pop up. So yeah, I'm trying to find just some different things that I still appreciated and that, you know, you could certainly still find and read and I'm sure enjoy. So the first prompt is 5 of the latest 5-star reads or 5 books that I love. So I went back over my reading list, and I've been keeping it since 2018. And I found some books from previous years that I don't know if I'd necessarily call them all 5 stars, but they're all ones I haven't spoken of. They're all fairly recent books, with the exception of one, I think. And so they're the kinds of things that maybe you would come across in a free library, or you certainly could get from your library if you're interested in them, you know, based on me speaking about them. So here we go. In 2019, I read Deep, Deep Snow by Brian Freeman. It was actually published in 2019 as an audiobook, but it was a couple of years before it was actually published in print. So in a way, it's kind of a newer book. But I listened to it on audiobook in 2019. And the story is, now I just got these little blurbs from Amazon because I can't count on myself to remember everything about the story. You know, in most cases, I just really remember enjoying it and, you know, some of the basic things. But this says, Deputy Shelby Lake was abandoned as a baby, saved by a stranger who found her in the freezing cold. Now, years later, a young boy is missing, and Shelby is the one who must rescue a child. The only evidence of what happened to 10-year-old Jeremiah Sloan is a bicycle left behind on a lonely road. After a desperate search fails to locate him, the close bonds of Shelby's hometown begin to fray under the weight of accusations and suspicion. Everyone around her is keeping secrets. Her adoptive father, her best friend's young daughter, they all have something to hide. Even Shelby is concealing a mistake that could jeopardize her career and her future. So yeah, that was a good mystery. In 2020, I read Whistling Past the Graveyard by Susan Crandall. This is a book that was published in 2013, so it's probably one of the older ones here. And it says, from an award-winning author comes a wise and tender coming-of-age story about a 9-year-old girl who runs away from her Mississippi home in 1963, befriends a lonely woman suffering loss and abuse, and embarks on a life-changing road trip. And if you're wondering where the title came from, here is a quote from the book where they talk about it. Whistling past the graveyard. That's what Daddy called it when you did something to keep your mind off your most worstest fear. So yeah, whistling past the graveyard. And I've been known to use that phrase since reading the book. And it's a good book. It's kind of similar to Where the Crawdads Sing or something along those lines. I really like the road trip idea and things like that. Another one that I read in 2020, although this one is an older book, it's from 1997, Into the Wild by Jon Krakauer. Now, this book kind of enjoyed a kind of a second resurrection when a movie was made out of the book, and it is a true story. This is a nonfiction book. In April 1992, a young man from a well-to-do family hitchhiked to Alaska and walked alone into the wilderness north of Mount McKinley. 4 months later, his decomposed body was found by a moose hunter. This is the unforgettable story of how Christopher Johnson McCandless came to die. I really like Jon Krakauer's writing. He wrote Into Thin Air, which is a story about climbing. Climbing the largest mountain. Wish I could remember which one that is right now. But anyway, yeah, he wrote a story about that, Mount Everest. And I like the way that he handles this situation with this young man, Christopher McCandless, going off into the woods. There was a lot of criticism at the time by hikers saying, well, why didn't he do this? Why didn't he do that? This kind of, his book kind of explains a little bit more some of those things and just the circumstances. And it kind of gets us into Christopher's head and ideas and thinking and into his heart a little bit. And yeah, I think that it explains the story very well. In 2021, I read The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. I should know to get myself a cough drop before I even begin. I get a dry throat and then that's the end of that. But anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, The Prophets, right? A singular and stunning debut novel about the forbidden union between two enslaved young men on a Deep South plantation, the refuge they find in each other, and a betrayal that threatens their existence. This book was just exceptionally well written. It was just kind of a different slavery story, and I just really liked it. I read through it very quickly. Yeah, it was a very, very good book. Lastly, from 2022, I chose The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. That was actually published in 2018. And again, that one was kind of revived, the interest in it, because it was made, I believe that one was made into a series. And it says, this beautiful, illuminating tale of hope and courage is based on interviews that were conducted with Holocaust survivor and Auschwitz-Birkenau tattooist Ludwig Lally Sokolov, an unforgettable love story in the midst of atrocity. It, again, very well written, just a great story. I read it on my Kindle, and I just went ahead and got the next two books in the series, which continued on with some of the same characters and kind of told a similar story in a similar place, but from their point of view. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. So number 4 is auto-buy authors. So things that you would just kind of automatically buy because you're so interested in the author. And maybe these aren't necessarily auto buys for me, but I would call them auto reads, or at least auto interested in reading. So I would say for sure, and this is something I've talked about before, but that's the nature of the question. It's an auto buy. Patricia Cornwell, the Kay Scarpetta series. Now, I will say this. She's written a couple of other series, none as lengthy as the Kay Scarpetta series, but those I do not find as interesting. There's something about the Kay Scarpetta stories that just captivates me, and I like them. But otherwise, yeah, I probably wouldn't be half as interested in her books if it weren't for that series. Another one for me would be John Grisham. Absolutely love him. He has a few books that are serialized, but mostly his novels are just kind of standalone stories. He's also written a few collections of short stories and a few nonfiction books. The third book in his Camino series is one that just came out not too long ago. I think it's called Camino Winds. And no, Camino Ghosts, I think it is. And I haven't read that one, so thanks for reminding me. I'll probably go get that at the library soon. So next, for a auto author, I put Stephen King, kind of. He's not an auto read for me necessarily, but I will at least investigate what the book is about. And then I may or may not put it on my radar, depending. Some of his stuff I don't always really like, and I kind of like to find out a little bit about what the stories are about. If I think it's something that I'm interested in, then yeah, he's kind of somebody that, pretty much I'll kind of a go-to. And then Kristen Hanna has definitely started to become, an auto read for me. I think she's an excellent contemporary author. So next is 3 genres I'm loving. So I picked 3 each for fiction and nonfiction. For fiction, I picked action and adventure, the hero's journey kind of thing. I like thrillers and suspense. Those have long been a favorite of mine. And I would kind of put the mystery category under that, because mysteries are, thrillers and obviously, suspense. Literary fiction would be another genre. And those are the stories that are character driven, thought provoking, focused on a theme. I read quite a few books that I think would meet that definition. Nonfiction, I would say biographies, memoirs, and autobiographies. All of those are, always of interest to me, and science and technology, mostly on the science side, mostly medical science. I read quite a bit of that. I actually read a lot of that, but not necessarily in books, more articles, news things that would come through your email and have stories about different new things that are coming out in medicine, things like that. 2 places I love to read. Okay, I chose 2, inside and outside. I love to read anywhere, so inside and outside. Okay, so now we're down to one book I promised to read soon. Well, this is very timely and very interesting, because I had mentioned the other day in one of my videos that I won one of the giveaways from Goodreads, and that I would read the book soon, because, of course, part of the situation when you get a free book is that you're going to review it for them. And I had said that it was an author that I've read before, and that is true, and that the genre was thriller. So the book that I got, I just received it in the mail, I think just yesterday, in fact, is A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. This is an advanced reading copy. It will come out in February of 2025. And I have read one of her others. Excuse me, I might need to block Raina. Oh no, I can work around Raina. That's No One Can Know. And I reviewed this on my channel in December of 2023. She also wrote a book, What Lies in the Woods. I know quite a few people on BookTube have read that one also. So this I'll probably read and review maybe in November, maybe December. I don't know. My TBR is getting like smashed in. I don't even know if I'm going to finish 24 banned books, believe it or not. I mean, I will, but I might go into 2025 in order to accomplish it. But we'll see what happens. You never know. I may get a second wind. Okay. So I'm not going to tag anyone specifically on this one. It's just a fun little tag, and I think it's been around for a little while, if I'm not mistaken. So Please feel free to pick it up and do it if the mood strikes. I mean, even if it's something that you've done, quite some time ago. I mean, you can probably update it at this point. Also, if you're new to my channel, hey, why not subscribe? If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button and leave the comment. I always enjoy hearing from everyone. So thank you for those people who always watch and always comment. I appreciate you. Okay, so now I'm going to close by showing the covers of the books that I discussed. So again, if you come across them in the free library or at your local library, you say, hey, that's that book that Renee was talking about. Let me check that out. It wasn't The Women by Kristen Hanna that she discusses all the time. What do you know? I'm just kidding. And if you have a few additional minutes, I have some video of my arrow gardens at the end of this video. And here's a spoiler alert for you. They're looking awesome. So stick around if you can. Otherwise, you're free to go and have a good day. Okay, so here we go. This was one I had talked about, The Deep, Deep Snow by Brian Freeman. I listened to it on audiobook, and that was back in 2019. And that's when it came out on audio. Whistling Past the Graveyard by Susan Crandall. This book was from 2013. I read it in 2020. And yeah, just a very enjoyable and original read. I mentioned this book, Jon Krakauer, Into the Wild. This actually was written in 1997. I was a little bit surprised. I thought it was slightly newer than that. But anyway, I read it in 2021. The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. This is a book from, I think it came out in 2021, and I read it in 2022, I think I said. And The Tattooist of Auschwitz. That one I read in 2022. It came out in 2018. And by now, everybody's probably seen it as a series. I don't watch a whole lot of TV. So for me, that was just a very good read and very enjoyable. So thanks for watching. Hello. It's Friday, September 27th. And this is one head of lettuce that was planted approximately a month ago. It was planted on the 29th of August, so about 4 weeks. And it is gorgeous. It's really, really beautiful. I know I said that last time about my lettuce, but honestly, this is some of the best I've grown. I attribute it to the plant food that I use, and I'll show that to you in a minute. Currently, I am not using the one that comes with the Arrow Gardens. There's an Arrow Garden type. It's made by Miracle Grow Company, and I've always used that. Most people that have Arrow Gardens, use that kind. Putting up the light a little bit here, sorry. But I have started using a different one that's available on Amazon. The brand is called TPS, and I love it. I would not switch back to the Arrow Garden kind now. So this is ready to harvest quite a bit, really. And I know that I can make out of this lettuce and some other that I'll show you in a minute, probably a couple of nice little side salads to have this afternoon with lunch or early dinner, whatever we're going to have. So hold on a second and I'll show you this other garden. So up here we have two heads of lettuce that are growing. Believe it or not, this was planted at the exact same time, 29th of August. But for some reason, it took a couple weeks for this to even start sprouting so that I could even tell what color it was going to be. So sometimes that happens. Unfortunately, the other one is growing so large that it'll suck up all the water, but we'll see what we can do. We might be able to do a couple of interventions that'll spruce that up a little. Now, check this. I mean, this is unbelievable. Look at the color on that. Really, I have never grown lettuce that looks so good. A lot of these lettuces, these soft lettuces, when they're first growing, they get a lot of kind of funny spots on them. I don't see that happen half as much with this TPS stuff. You will see maybe a little bit, but not half as much. So there's one more thing I want to show you, and that's the petunias. Okay, so here are the petunias, 3 plants. We got one kind of lagging behind, just like with the lettuce, although it doesn't seem quite as dramatic as it is with the lettuce. But anyway, yeah, I'm very pleased with the growth on these. They will be just fine. They're much slower growing than lettuce, and that's okay. Everything just grows at its own pace, so no problem. But yeah, these are also, I think, going to be really, really nice. No telling what the colors will be. Out of these Aero Gardens, I've gotten most often kind of a light violet color. I've gotten a dark kind of fuchsia color, and I've gotten white. So it'll probably be one of those 3, but it could be something else. Who knows? So this is the type of plant food I've been using, TPS plant foods, liquid plant food for Aero Gardens and hydroponics. This 8-ounce bottle, I don't know what it is. I think it's like $12 or something. It's not very much. Tells you on the back how much to put in. Yeah, and you just use a little measuring cup and go for it. So I've found this to be fantastic. I did not compare, and I should have, the analysis between this and the Aero Garden style. But anyway, all right. Thanks for taking a look.